with Hrishi K.
Anubhav Sinha is here. Hello, sir. What's up?
Anubhav Sinha is here and he'll start now.
Before we start, I want to pay my condolences to the Urban Planning Department of Mumbai. They are awesome. They were awesome.
You know what has happened basically? Is that there is an audit being conducted by the IIT Bombay structural engineers after the Andheri bridge collapse.
Okay.
So they have come and they have deemed this bridge in Dalal Road unfit, and they've said that it can break any time now. It's a 99-year-old British ke zamane ka bridge. So they've closed it to rebuild it.
I am convinced they have checked only one. If they check more, there's worse news coming up.
Okay, let's get back to Mulk now. You know, I was saying to my wife the other day, saying that I should be the most secure person on this planet. I am Hindu, I am Brahmin, I am male, yeah. Hindu, Brahmin, male means I should be extremely, extremely secure in this day and age. But I am not. Because if I go onto my Twitter feed and I say I consumed a particular type of meat in a foreign trip, I will get trolled on my timeline. And I said, these are very troubled times we live in. And then I saw a trailer launch in which you were talking about saying, this is not the troubled time that we live in. Through the sands of time, India has always been like this.
Yes.
So explain that to the radio audience.
As much as we know about mankind, the oldest living civilization here, even before we knew what religion was, God was, there was no concept of God, no? So some humans found themselves here and they were trying to deal with each other, and then they were trying to deal with the nature. So for the longest time, nature was God. And then they discovered a concept of God. There were some people who thought God was inside of us, and that later developed into Buddhism and Jainism. And then we discovered an external God. That was probably the biggest mistake we made, because after that we gave that God names, forms, colors, shapes, and blah, 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 blah. And ever since, we have been fighting with each other. We have been trying to find supremacy, the ruler and the ruled. And that is when this community that you come from, Brahmins, came into play. They seemed to know God. I'm talking like an atheist, I'm not. But yeah, they seem to know God better than the rest. And then there was another community, which was a warrior community, which was Kshatriyas. These two ruled the human existence, one for being close to God and one for being braver than the rest. And the rest of the humankind became the others. So it goes as far back as that. And then there were rules that were created to suit the ruler and not the ruled. And it's continued till date. And some of those being, one religion says you can't eat this kind of meat, and some says you can't eat this kind of meat, and some says you can't eat meat at all, which is fine. If I subscribe to one religion, I should abide by it. The problem comes into play where the politics of the world wants to use these differences in their favor. And it all boils down to making sure that the ruled class is not asking the right questions. So because they do not want to answer the right questions, which is about the well-being of the ruled,
Correct.
they keep you engaged with me.
Which is about urban planning, basically.
So this is very meticulously planned. This is very meticulously planned to make sure that we continue to, in spite of the fact that you are a Brahmin and you traditionally belong to the ruling class, you actually are the ruled class. So now it is not about religion. It has become about who has how much money.
Very well said. The reason for casting Pratik, one can understand when you say that you automatically...
Too much philosophy, no?
This is why I've come straight to Pratik.
Let's have some contrast.
No, we all love him. He's a wonderful boy. We're just talking about that. It's obvious that, you have this lawyer who's taking on the establishment. You think of Taapsee. You have Mr. Kapoor, and you think of him because he's Mr. Kapoor.
Yeah.
And then you have this terrorist or somebody who's swayed by.
No, let's call him a terrorist.
Yeah, okay, a terrorist. Because I don't know the exact plot of the.
No, I'm
film,
telling you,
unfortunately.
because we did say in our campaign that he was misguided youth, but what he ends up doing is a terrorist
He's a
act.
terrorist act. So you cast him, and then you repeat him now. Taapsee tells me he's in your next film also, and
Yes,
she's
yes.
not.
Yes, she's not.
So why Pratik?
Pratik, when he came to meet me, he came to meet me just like that. It wasn't for the casting of a film or something. I think he was restarting his career. He had had a couple of not so wonderful years. So he just dropped by to see me with his manager, who's known to me. And at that point, he wasn't aware that I was casting for Mulk. And I wanted this lost kid. And when Pratik was sitting there and talking to me, he was a little lost because he wasn't really exactly saying that give me this role, give me this film. He was a little uncomfortable in his skin at that point. Now
He
he's
couldn't
not.
get to the point.
Yeah. So I needed somebody who wasn't comfortable in his skin. And he had fidgety eyes, and so I thought of him, and I asked him would you do a part in Mulk. And he was more than happy to read, and he actually said yes before reading it. And then he read it, and he came on board. So he was a perfect fit. It's pure providence that he was there on that day when I was casting for that part.
Why are intelligent youths who are professionals, who are engineers, doctors, being radicalized? It's a question I've not been able to answer. How are the mullahs or the pandits or whoever they are being able to radicalize youth who are scoring A pluses? Some of them are brilliant.
Yeah.
Do you have an answer to that?
Of course. Our education system is flawed. We are taught things that we don't probably have a knack for. And then there are careers associated to those qualifications. And so those A pluses are for mugging up those lines or for understanding those equations. And let me not put it down. For understanding those equations and getting the result right. Whereas the education should begin with coexistence, love for human beings, and blah 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 blah. So these people who have those A plus grades are actually I get trolled by some of those blue tick Twitter accounts, and actually they are the misguided youth. They don't know what happened. They don't know what went on. They don't know where we are today, and they are. So this virus of neo-nationalism is infected into them. They think that singing the national anthem is the best nationalistic thing you can do, or the flag, or the boundaries of the country. What is within the boundaries of the country is what a country is. And so they were not trained. They were never trained. Since childhood, my school, we stood up and looked at the flag and we sang the national anthem. We took so much pride in, and we should, and we got goosebumps. But we never thought, what is my contribution to this national flag? So our minds were not oriented in that manner. And right now, if you're talking about right now, it is convenient to say, I am nationalistic and you are not. Because we are devoid of the right questions. What is your contribution to? Do you jump a traffic light? Do you evade taxes? Do you steal government money? I think the biggest terrorist that has come out of India is Nirav Modi. I think the biggest terrorist that has come out of India.
Mehul Choksi was sitting in Antigua.
Yeah, he says, or Vijay Mallya for that matter, they are not answerable. They have stolen our hard-earned money. They're living in luxury, in broad daylight. We don't call them terrorists. This is misinformation, not being trained. So those A pluses are for the subjects that they studied in. I'm sure they're brilliant with it, but not with what this country should be.
Are more Aarti Mohammeds the need of the hour? You think that if there are more mixed race marriages, if Hindus marry into Muslims, I see people like Shah Rukh, for example, who says, man, it's amazing. because my kids celebrate Eid as well as Diwali, and the film industry is the most secular industry.
Honestly, I'm sure you also. I have grown up celebrating all these festivals
Yeah.
because back home in Delhi, being from a from a Sikh family, we only had like what 2 or 3 festivals in a year actually. So we used to celebrate all of them, thinking all of them are ours. We'll do all the even Janmashtami. I used to decorate and make some a house of Krishna ji outside my house, and then like kids would expect people to come and donate them some money and all. I've done all that. I've celebrated Christmas. Used to fight with my family to get a Christmas tree. Expect mom to make sevaiya during Eid. So all this we have done while growing up. So I think not the need is to Aarti Muhammad. It's just a metaphorical way of saying someone who is like in a way, a bridge, who wants to stand for the larger good, or who wants to stand for country before religion, who's been brought up in a Hindu family, married into a Muslim family, but has a sensibility to decide that what is right and what is wrong, not basis religion, but basis over who does good or who does bad. Okay, so that's more important. That's what the voice probably of the film is, to decide, without any prejudice, what is right for the country and what is wrong.
Yeah, it's an interesting news channel interview I saw of Mr. Kapoor and you, where you said that your film doesn't provide any solutions. You ask questions. But now I'm asking you, is this a solution? More mixed marriages. I mean, how will we become a more secular country? You said that. You said, there were riots in Banaras when you were living there. Then subsequently there were Sikh riots. And the Hindu-Muslim riots every few months or years. This thing, is there a possible way to stop that? With mixed marriages, or more Aarti Muhammads? Now I'm really asking for solutions. I mean, your film doesn't, but I'm just saying.
I don't know if I have the solutions. The first thing I was saying this on a news channel. I think that is the beginning of the solution. Stop watching news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, this WhatsApp fake news scandal, people are landing up in jail.
Yeah.
And they're just WhatsApp admins.
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
So there are this is a prejudice that has been fed into our DNA for the longest time against Muslims or against Hindus, vice versa. If you celebrate Christmas at home, nobody has a problem. That's another religion. If you celebrate Baisakhi at home, nobody will have a problem. Imagine a Hindu celebrating Eid. He'll become a non-Hindu, anti-national, anti-Hindu, whatever not. So, this Hindu-Muslim prejudice goes back a long way. It started by our dear rulers, the Britishers. But since 47, and I keep saying this, allow me some time to answer this through a living example. Through 1947, the bloodiest war that was fought was for the province of Punjab. The Sikhs, the Maharaja Ranjit Singh's province, had its capital in Lahore. The birth of their guru was in Nankana Sahib near Lahore.
Yeah.
Right. The Sikhs came back from Lahore to Amritsar. The Muslims went from Amritsar to Lahore. That whole transfer of population happened. Muslims fought a bloody war with Sikhs fought a bloody war at that point with Muslims. Then there was this separatist movement of the Sikhs. Hindus and Sikhs fought. But look at that community, look at that religion. They have gone past it today. They have put it behind them, put it in their past. They have moved on looking for happiness, looking for togetherness. Any religion can go to Harminder Sahib and will be welcomed equally. It could be a Muslim, it could be a Hindu. This is what we need to do. A lot of things went wrong in our past. We need to put them behind us and move on with the zeal to live happily.
And we also have to thank them for the beautiful women they've given us.
Yeah.
Taapsee, Gulpana, Nimrat, Mandira. The list goes on and on.
So we are not looking for happiness. We are actually. I really try to learn this from Sikhs. They keep their religion very close to their hearts. They practice their religion very religiously. But it never comes out, and they never get stuck with history. They move on looking for happiness.
The fact that it's a film, it has to entertain.
Yeah.
Lest we get a little serious, let's come back to that. Courtroom dramas have to have very punchy dialogues and,
and it has ample.
how's the writing? How's the writing?
Ask the writer.
Should I leave the room?
Ask the
I
writer.
want you to talk.
See,
Because you're delivering those dialogues.
I am telling you, I'm saying this in every interview. I haven't read better dialogues which are like, those punchliney dialogues that you've got. I've never gotten to say better dialogues in any of my films than this, because probably the character demanded that. But what beautiful, and those every second, third line will raise an eyebrow. You'll be like, oh wow, oh okay, but that's...
I'm blushing, huh?
Yeah. I said enough before you came in, so that I don't have to say much now. But yeah, I mean, I was so thrilled. I first time never have got so many punchlines to say. That's why I'm just waiting for the film to open up for audience.
Jao pehle us aadmi.
Yeah, so all these kind of lines I have in the film, thanks to my character and him. So that really helped me, because I used to be more than excited to say those lines out. And I'm telling you, the dialogues of the film are going to stay with you for I don't know how long, but long. Trust me on that.
You're quite a unique character. I'm not going to say specific.
Didn't sound like a compliment at all.
Yeah. Unique character.
Here is Uttar Pradesh, which has the Banaras Hindu University in Banaras and the Aligarh Muslim University in Aligarh. And you've been in the thick of both those.
And so what was the school?
And
Banaras.
school. I'm just
What
curious.
is the
about
school?
Queen's College, Banaras.
Queen's
Yeah.
College Banaras. So you didn't go to BHU, but you must have had friends. You must have hung there.
Yeah,
And this and
I
that.
lived right next to BHU, so I used to
Wow.
go there very often.
Wow. So all these experiences, I mean, I'm sure you never thought you'd be a filmmaker at that point in time.
No,
What were you wanting to be? When you were in Queen's College, when you were in I'm just curious to know, AMU, what were you?
Nothing. Those days, you after the 12th, you either became a doctor or an engineer. So I didn't like blood, so I became an engineer. And then I worked as an engineer for a year.
You did? Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And until I figured out that this isn't what I wanted to do, and I quit my job for a year. For a year, I explored what I wanted to do, and then I figured I wanted to be a filmmaker. And with some 5,000 rupees, I came to Bombay.
She says that the film was predominantly shot in Lucknow, but if it's set in Banaras, why did you use Lucknow? Why didn't you just shoot in Banaras like Masan and all these wonderful films shot there?
Lucknow has better infrastructure right now.
And you needed that to come through for
yeah.
the... And your favorite film shot in Banaras would be? There's so many of them. It's such a canvas it is.
Masan is beautiful. I love that
huh?
film. I love that director. I love all the actors in it. And obviously, I love my city.
So whose performance do we look forward to in Mulk? Is it...
किसी की भी खराब हुई ना, so I swear this.
Do we watch it for Mr. Kapoor? Do we watch it for Taapsee? Do we watch it for...
I say watch it for dialogues. Yeah.
Watch it for dialogues. Yeah? This is your time for the sales pitch.
That's tough one. That's really tough.
You watch
it.
it for the court case. I'll tell you why. Because that court case, normally when you watch a courtroom drama, it is about two individuals and you want to figure out who's right or not.
Correct.
This court case is about you and someone else without you being involved. So you will be sitting there taking sides. So
You will be the judge.
You will be the judge.
Wow.
I've always been telling the person who plays the judge that you are the audience. The audience wants to agree with you. So whatever is the verdict that you deliver is something that the audience wants to hear.
Very beautifully put. And Mr. Pawa, one associates him with all these comedy roles.
Yeah.
And this
so
is far from that, yeah? Talk about
I
Manoj
think
Pawa.
Anubhav sir should answer, because I think all of us believe that, and all of us probably were not very sure if we would want that comedy thing to seep into Bilal's character. But he was always sure that that is the man who should be playing Bilal Mohammed's role. And I don't know, I think probably because of your previous experiences with him as an actor, that he can put
Yeah,
on
I've
this
always cast him in non-funny roles.
Wow.
I did a TV show called Seahawks.
Of course. We were just talking about that.
He was the main villain.
Madhavan came here for Breathe, which is an Amazon thing. And I made him feel really old. I said, bro, I grew up on I grew up on Banegi Apni Baat, and I grew up on Seahawks. I mean, he was very proper when he answered it. Said, those were fun days with Anubhav and all that.
So again, that time I wanted to cast Manoj Pawa as the villain. Everybody opposed it. because he used to be in office or something, and the day he showed up on set in the full getup, they believed me, and exactly the same thing happened in Mulk. Even my own office was against casting him in that part.
Okay, your marketing crew is making isharas to me. You have a long day ahead of you, so we're going to wrap. Just some last few questions. How does Anubhav Sinha celebrate life? How do you celebrate life? Do you like to travel? Do you like to hang with friends? What is your idea of a hearty, wonderful life?
I'm looking forward to this. I'm right now only working. So my best celebration is keeping quiet and being alone.
Oh, beautiful. What's the one thing you look forward to buying during festivals? We're just going into the festival season. There's going to be Ganesh Chaturthi, then Navratri, and then Dasera. Is there
If
anything
at
you look
all, I would like to go and buy some good food according to that particular festival. If at all, I have to buy if it's not made at home.
If you want to see a really old friend of yours and go and hang with him or her, and you haven't seen him for years or days or months, who would that be and why?
A lot of my friends from Aligarh, I haven't met them in a while. Some of them are in Dubai, some in the US. We keep talking on the phone, but I haven't hung with them in a while. It could be Parvez, Naved, Naseem, Aftab, Nayyar, any of these. I would love to go and hang with them.
If you wanted to go for a school reunion, where would you like to go with all your friends? Back to the school or third place or
No,
where?
I want to go back to school then if I have to meet my school friends.
Lovely. 9 days of Navratri. Have you all been to a dandiya? How do you?
Yeah,
What is your ideal way of celebrating Navratri or dandiya season? Taapsee.
Well, I've been to one Navratri night in Ahmedabad,
In the thick of it.
especially, in the thick of it. I think I would, if I get an opportunity, I would want to go there again to celebrate it because I think that's where the heart of it is. But eventually we end up working for the 9 days and one holiday comes and then we celebrate that, as a Shera.
Do you have any memories of Ram Leela in Delhi, Dasera?
Oh yeah, I have. My dad used to have a scooter during our younger days, and me and my sister used to hop on that scooter and go to all possible Ramlila grounds that were there, the smaller, the bigger, all of them in Delhi, and go and see all those Ravans. Acha, ye jal gaya, ab next one. Oh, wo wala jal gaya, ab next one. So we used to hop from one Ravan to the other in Delhi. I remember that.
Durga Puja, any memories in Banaras, in Bombay?
Yeah, quite a few. I mean, it's big in Banaras. But I don't like any of those crowded, boisterous celebrations. I stay away. Holi, even Diwali. Ever since I was a child.
So you don't have a favorite festival?
No.
Anubhavji. As a child, come on.
No, I don't think I ever dug any of these.
Okay, I will release you. Thank you very much and best of luck for Mulk. I cannot wait to watch it.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
3rd of August, all of you.
Yes, love you, Taapsee.
Thank you.